All right, all right, all right. Good evening, everybody. Hope y'all doing well. Man, we are back at it again, and you know what? It's about to be amazing because we got our queen in the house tonight. Without further ado, it is Melissa, Miss Pitbull Bartlett.
What's going on? My bro, I miss y'all so much.
Yeah.
ATRT family, miss you so much. Feels good to be back. Feels good. Absolutely. What's been up? What did I miss?
Oh man, let me tell you, we have tried our darndest to hold down the fort while you were doing your thug thizzle out there. And I would have to say I think we did pretty good. We did pretty good. But now that you're here, you're here. Our man A Money Biddle, he is out handling some business now himself. So of course, the show is still gonna rock on, especially with Melissa in the chair. Oh my goodness. Y'all know how she do. She be dropping some golden nuggets. Golden nuggets. So yeah. But yeah, so at the Roundtable Podcast Show, people, y'all know who we are. Uh, Adrian Biddle, Melissa Bartlett, and myself, Kerry Digsby. If you get a chance, please share the show on social media right now. We're on Facebook Live right now. We're actually on YouTube Live as well. So if you can, tell a friend, tell a fam, and tell everyone, because this is going to be a very good show.
I do believe.
Definitely going to be a very good show. Let's see if anybody. Oh, it look like they're trying to come on in and stuff. So Melissa, what's been going on?
I have been going through a personal journey, which we'll talk about on the show
Okay.
further on. Uh, Adjusting to second semester of college for my kids. Um, and also educating myself as well. Family, I was away because I was taking a class and some training, and I had the privilege to um, be a part of a cohort that is, well, let's start back. Let me go back. Be a part of a nonprofit through the Urban League here in Charlotte, and be the third cohort group of women and women of color that can receive the training that will put us in the IT field, because we know that that field is still very unrepresented by, or I should say, underrepresented by people of color and especially women. Um, and so I am so excited to be finished and completed and successful with that class and that training. And yeah, other than that, I've been missing you guys. That's what I've been up to for the past couple weeks, for sure.
That's what's up. That is what's up. They start to come in. Shouts out to Mahogany Tabiti and Terry Digsby and Mr. Jeremiah Holt. Salute to you, sir. What's going on? It's your people here at the Roundtable Podcast Show. If you get a chance, again, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell someone, because this is going to be a very, very good show, and we want you to interact on this show. This is your opportunity to really let your voice be heard, because
Yes.
tonight's topic is mental health.
Mental health.
No need to sugarcoat it, no need to make it flowery. We're going to talk about mental health, and we want you to share your mental health journeys, your pitfalls, things you've learned as well, because I think it's really needed now more than ever to go ahead and just open the doors. Let's talk about the elephant that's in the room, mental health. So, looks like people still coming on in and sharing. Thank y'all for sharing tonight. Pitbull, I'm gonna go ahead and let you start this thing off, because you shared some stuff, and I think we'll definitely share our viewpoints and our journeys. But I want you to definitely share, because it really touched me when we were talking.
Well, sure. So family, I am on my journey for me, or Melissa's journey back to Melissa. Um, it is crazy that mental health is our topic today, because the guys have been handling the show and coming up with topics and what they're going to do. So when I saw that Carrie sent the title and the topic, I was like, oh, and I had to let them know. While I've been away as well, myself, I'm currently in maintaining and regaining my mental health. Um, I've had a lot of things that happened, some life changing events that has happened in my life. And so I feel like we as African Americans and women, really of all kinds of races and ethnic backgrounds, we tend to take responsibility for everyone but ourselves. And when things happen to us and we process or we pause it and don't process it, we make sure that we are setting up our bodies to be on a delay. And this is what I was sharing with Carrie. Um, I feel that doing that over the years, even from being a little girl, all the way up through being, becoming a woman, when you are always taking care of other people, taking on the responsibility of other people, you forget that you have to take care of yourself. And when things happen, because you're taking care of somebody else, you start to suppress. You start to sweep it under the rug. I'll just deal with it later. Oh, that's not that big, or I can't think about that right now. These are some of the things that we verbally or say it out loud to other people or to ourselves. And then you're making your body form a behavior of delay, whether it's in processing emotions, reacting to some emotions, and it's going to eventually short circuit your brain, the heartbeat of what makes us feel and function. And so, me myself, that's what happened to me. Um, I have been diagnosed with depression and anxiety. I'm currently in therapy for it, and I have a light prescription as well. I posted on our page, having Jesus and it, but you need a therapist too. Um, there's no secret on this show that we are believers. However, it's okay to seek something outside of prayer. Okay, um, because prayer helps feed your soul, but you need something that's going to take care of those physical things right now, and that's where the therapy come in. And so I feel a lot better because I'm one of those people who people go to. I got the answers. I'm the one that people say I need help. I'm the one that make myself available for help. When it's time for you to get help, sometimes you feel like you might be letting those people down because at this point they may view you as not being a reliable source anymore. These are some of the things that was going through my head. But when I realized that all of the triggers that was weighing on me was starting to affect me at work, starting to affect me, in the house and things of that nature, I knew at that point that I definitely had to ask for help. And it is a brave thing to do. It can also be scary, um, but you have to do it. You have to make that step to just say out loud, I need help. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I cry in the middle of a conversation and we're talking about something funny. Or I don't know why when I need to go to the store, when I get in my car, my chest is tightening up and I'm breathing because you just wind up having an anxiety of getting out the house and going to the store. It makes you feel like you're losing your mind. And these are some of the things that I was dealing with. These are some of the symptoms that was happening to me. Um, and I can say not as often, but it still happens here and there. So I did a step back. I took a leave of absence from work so I can focus on getting healthy. If that means getting rest that day, that's what that means. If it means, you know, just kind of chilling out, I don't want to have to worry about trying to fit something in on a lunch break or, worrying about getting up and having this day off and all that kind of stuff. Um, Having the comfort of your circle to understand. Yeah. welcome. Um, all of that is important, and it starts making you evaluate who do you have around you. Do you have people around you that's just around you, or do you really have people that when you need them, they're there? So, when you are maintaining your mental health or you are regaining your mental health, it does put a lot of other things in perspective, because you realize now I have to have certain mechanisms in my life in order for this to be successful and have a longevity to it. You got to have certain people in your life. You got to have certain outlets in your life. I shared with Carrie that, while I took the original step back from doing the show for my class, everything kind of happened for me when my mental health started to diminish. And then not doing the podcast on top of that, that's one of the things I look forward to every week. So all of my coping mechanisms were gone. Everything that I would do to help replenish me, I couldn't even do that. And so I think also that is kind of what helped this spiral, because I was totally unfamiliar and I didn't have any of my facets to, kind of like just put the band-aid on, like just kind of get through to the next day. All of that was gone. So, mental illness and mental health are very serious issues in our society, in our households, and we as African Americans, I mean, we need it. I think everybody should at least once a year talk to a therapist, just like you have your yearly checkups for physical things. I think you should once a year have a therapy session, because we are born into PTSD. We are born into traumatic syndromes and traumatic life happenings and events, and we don't get help to process what's happening to us. We deserve to have therapy as just in regular life, from seeing our kings murdered and our queens murdered and our children murdered, to seeing how someone can literally right now fight voters' rights against your right as a citizen. I mean, school system, if you got kids in the school and then put that on top of the pandemic, on top of already having struggles about your children's school, like trying to figure out how they're going to have a laptop when you don't have Wi-Fi. Like, I mean, you have a whole set of other stuff than the other part of society. And you gonna tell me that you don't need to talk to somebody? Yes, you do need to talk to somebody. Absolutely need to talk to somebody. But I don't want to ramble. If we got anybody commenting, bro?
Oh yeah. Charlie Tools had just noted, she has said herself she's having anxiety and depression too. I refuse to let it have me though. Keep glowing, BBFF. And then she noted, let's not forget, higher functioning suffering may go undetected. And that is a very, very good point that you mentioned, sis. I'm sure everybody has heard and watched on the news, former Miss America, Miss Christ.
Former Miss North Carolina.
She, which a lot of people could not believe. A lot of people could not believe that she would take her own life. But her mother just recently said that she was actually suffering and dealing with depression. And that's the thing that a lot of times I think a lot of people don't understand. We as people take for granted when we see people in certain positions and they're just like high octane, making things happen, powerful. Wow. First thing somebody says, man, I wish I were you. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Can I interject real quick, bro?
Go ahead, sis.
Because you have been you've been around me. You're you know what I'm saying? We don't say this is for slang. This is like my brother, okay? So he knows me. And I can just be transparent and tell you, at the times when I'm acting the silliest and I'm the most animated, were some of the times that I was hurting the deepest.
Amen. And a lot of people don't understand that, because it's it's that mask many times people put on, and we assume that everything is all right. We see the outside, but we don't know the inside. We don't know what that person is going through and suffering. And oh, hold on one second. We got another. Okay. So Terry just said, fellow sufferer of depression and anxiety, I made a personal choice not to medicate so that I can breastfeed my children with no worries. Last year was supposed to be my year to focus on me. Was so excited to have surgery. Found out on the table I was pregnant. I had an episode right there at the hospital. I was depressed for months. I would never have abortion, but I honestly thought about it. I snapped out of it, but it was hard. I wasn't okay until about 6 months into my pregnancy. She said, however, 2022 is officially my year. Had my surgery last week and plan on sharing my journey. I put my first biz on the back burner so I can focus what's on my heart right now. That is so important. And I was just sharing with Mel right before we got on the show. She echoed those same sentiments that, when people are going through that, it's not being selfish. What's being selfish is not actually communicating. I think we as a people have had so many times we've been how you say it, we've been taught not to
survive life and not live.
That's it. And it's sad that we're put in that position in which we have to push ourselves down to lift someone else up. And then when the situation happens, somebody snaps, somebody takes their own life or whatever, then all of a sudden people are like at awe and they don't understand, well, why didn't they tell us? Why didn't they communicate that? Sometimes our actions alone are cries for help or asking for someone to interact. Hey, Dina, what's going on? She said, yes, masking the hurt and the pain.
I think about having the circle that I have to be comfortable enough to say, hey, I am working on my mental health right now. And even how scared I was to even do that. And I know I have a circle of people who love me. You have to think about a lot of people. I don't care how many people they know. They don't have a circle of comfort to say, hey, I'm working on my mental health. I need help. And I can just feel, even heavier because if I know how I felt and I know I have people who, care for those people not to have that.
Yeah. Charlie said, I am high functioning and I'm often told, don't claim that. I always say what your right mind makes you say that I would. A chemical imbalance in my brain by choice usually ends the inquest and also ends the full support. Good point. Very good point. Dina said, these conversations need to be normalized. So many suffer silently. I was reading an article not too long ago about mental health. And one of the things that this particular organization talked about is, and they gave it as an example. When you have diabetes, when you have cancer, when you have any type of disease or any malady of the physical body, you will identify it and you will find those that will actually help you. You go find the experts to take care of your physical body. But when it comes to your mental aspect, we tend to get quiet and we tend to not say anything because it makes it seem as though we are weak. And we've got to get out of that mode of thinking. So I'm glad you said that, sis. Daryl, what's going on? Daryl Cook. Daryl says sometimes it's your own circle that will downplay how you feel when you do choose to express yourself. Good point, Daryl. Thank you for joining us and thank you for saying that, bro. That is very important. And I know Manil wants to say something about that.
And that's when I said that it helps you start to reevaluate who really you need to have in your circle. So Daryl's absolutely right. But after that happens, I'm pretty sure you're going to start understanding, yeah, I don't need you that close to me.
Mm-hmm. Charlie said, like, who signs up for someone to discredit your mental health because they can't see your ailments? Amen. Our society has shamed mental health to an extent. You know what? That's true, sis. And I want to bring this point up as well. I was going to wait until if A Money was to get on, but I want to go ahead and bring it up right now. Here's the thing, because we've seen so many times in the news of law enforcement in contact with someone who has mental health issues. And a lot of times when those situations happen, it ends up with a loss of life. And law enforcement has now recognized that, and they're saying that these individuals, these officers, need better training when it comes to mental health or interacting with individuals with mental health issues. So you're right. Our society has put a stigma on individuals that have a mental health issue. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, a mental health issue is not even really, it doesn't have to get to that extreme in which is somebody out on the street butt naked with a knife in their hand. It can be someone sitting at home right now who's the breadwinner, who's holding it down, plays softball, does all these things. But when everybody goes to bed, they find themselves up at night thinking different thoughts and crying. That's mental health as well, you know. So it can be different levels to this thing. And just like, there's different levels when it comes to certain sicknesses and diseases to our body. And we have to stop being afraid of talking about mental health, no matter what it is. Charlie said, why would we make this up? Also, you are all hitting a trigger. Our cultures and communities shun mental health issues no matter how mild or severe.
And let's not also forget, I can't remember the show. They just did the clip is starting to recirculate where a young man is having a mental episode.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor is close to them. He was a former police officer and decided to become a doctor. And he knew the family. So by the time he gets there and he's trying to talk him down and calm him down, someone's called the police.
Mm-hmm.
The police come, a gun's drawn, telling him, let me see your hands. And he has his hands in his pocket and he's having this, mental episode.
Mm-hmm.
So they do listen to the doctor and let, him calm him down. By the end of the show, the young man was suffering from a certain type of bipolar disorder, but because his mom took him to an emergency room and they look at us already as mental savages, things that nature, they slap the most diagnosis that come with those type of savages behaviors without any kind of real assessment. And then they just throw you on meds. Don't try to go low and go high. They automatically give you the highest so you can be suppressed and probably know you're going to have another relapse. So you're not going to go to jail, but we'll still have you in some type of an institution. But I won't go on that show. That's another show. And so you have people who may be having these kind of episodes, and it's because they've been wrongly diagnosed and either wrongly medicated or are too high of a medication.
Right. So Terry just said, I didn't start telling my PCP the truth until my early 20s because I was terrified of my guardians finding out. They would have flipped. Funny, though, they are okay with therapy now, which is great. But after suffering for so long, it angers me when they mention how people should get help. Yeah, that we have to be better stewards of understanding when our fellow man or woman are suffering in silence. Charlie said, yeah, they don't know that as mental health issues, but They do recognize it as a weakness or quick to call you crazy. That's why so many go undiagnosed or self-medicate with the I definitely have seen that. Oh, ooh. Dang, we might need to get you on the show and you and Melissa just take over. Y'all be dropping some knowledge and some nuggets. I like that. Our society is so quick to put on a show of wins, but let's get real. Those wins don't come without battles. That is so true.
Dina Renee, as a male, if the truth be told, I've been there too. But when you try to tell others, you are looked at as weak and told to get over it. And Daryl, I saw something online where it says we teach our sons to shut up and not cry.
Mm-hmm.
It says something about shut up and not cry, quit whining, don't be soft.
Yep.
But you don't. But that's what you do as a man. You show your anger. So it had this guy with his fist up, and I looked at that because you grow up under what you hear.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to relearn and retrain my brain about so many different things. Boys don't cry, but yes, it's not about being a boy. You're a human. Humans cry. Mm-hmm. You get emotional, and there's still that stigma around, oh, women are so emotional. Honestly, men are more emotional than women because we have that little thing that God said, bloop, bloop, and we process our emotions, and men tend to show them quicker. But we're the ones that say it, we're too emotional. We have to start removing these stigmas and retraining and relearning, our vocabulary and what it means for real, not what we were told by society and the neighborhood. Retraining how we think and opening up to being transparent about your vulnerabilities. You have to.
Terry said, now on the flip side, devil's advocate, I do feel like now it's being used as an excuse for bad behavior. Every time someone, especially a public figure, does something, it's the mental health card now. Unless you are mentally unstable, meaning you have no control, you are still responsible for your actions. Good point. Very good point. And I like when you said that as far as us being transparent, because that is something that, with Daryl, mentioning, men are being taught at a very young age to suppress their emotions, to not be weak, to be able to, hey, you a man, take it like a man. It's always that card, man, like, like we're not supposed to cry. We're not supposed to connect. We're not supposed to love and even tell each other, like a man tell another man, I love you, because you're my brother. This is what you've done for me. These are things that it is unfortunate. And I think so many times what's happened, and I've seen it happen with young people as well, because when you tell a young person that, and then you wonder why they lash out, or when they communicate to you, they communicate in a way that can be destructive to either property, individuals, or even to themselves. And then all the questions start coming up. Why didn't they tell us? I can't believe that happened. My child did this. You got to be better. Charlie said, I just made a post about we need to be more proactive about our men's mental health too. In my relationship consultations, I often ask, how can you ask an adult male to show you emotions or talk about feelings when they have spent the first 18 years of growing up being to mask, dent, or hide them? Ooh, yes, indeed.
And that is so true.
Yeah. Daryl. Good one, Daryl. I'm glad you said that. Yeah. Suck it up. And I don't know if you've seen this or not, Daryl, But you know, back in the day, when you did start crying, what's the first thing to say? You don't hush up, I'll give you something to cry about. So now they want to inflict pain on them.
Punishment.
Punishment to mask the pain that you're going through with further pain. And you wonder why, how they act the way, you know, they do. And it's like, oh, I can't believe that's not how we raised them. We raised them to be such and such.
Well, you have to think about what you raised them, you know, first. Your, you know, fundamental behaviors are taught from age 2 in the beginning. You know, a lot of people want to tell their boys or want to start trying to tell them how to be a young man because they're like 15, 16, standing up tall. And you teach young men how to be young men from the age that they can comprehend, which has been proven anywhere from 18 months, as young as 18 months.
Right.
You teach young ladies how to be young ladies. And really just you teach your children how to be good people.
Right.
You can't just start being around them and then because they're of age. Like who said that there was an age that you didn't cry? Like who said, you know, for young ladies, you know, oh, there's an age that you just go, you can't express your emotions no more. So if I was a moody little girl and I wanted to have my way and I cried and I was a little girl, and now that I'm a teenager, all of a sudden I'm still moody. I just process my emotions different. Now all of a sudden you telling me, oh, you just trying to be smart, or you just trying to be this, or you know what, you just being dramatic, or you know what, you need to get over it. I'm tired of you. Da, da, da. Your child is a makeup of who they are, and if that's how they process, they just continue to process in different ways. Who said that there was this magical age when you was not supposed to be so emotional or show emotion?
That's a good one. Yeah, there's no age to it at all. But we got a lot of comments coming in. So Terry said, I had to remind my love that we are not our parents' generation. Good. I'm not going to tell him how to make our son a good man. However, I do remind him, like, hey, you're doing too much. Be a little softer, especially since our oldest son needs extra support in some areas. I'm glad you said that because many times we as parents, we tend to remember what our parents did with us. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you what I did as a parent and my wife did as a parent is not a genuine rule book for our children. Right out the gate, we made mistakes. We're imperfect. So, and plus situations are totally different than how we were raised and what we're bringing forward to you, and then you take it on. So that's a very good point. You know, you have to recognize the day and the age and the situation that's going on right now in order to tailor fit how to raise your child. Now, I'm not saying you totally, you know, not go by wisdom that has been, you know, given unto you by your forebears, but at the same time, you have to do what is right for your child at this time. So yeah, and definitely keeping God first is very important as well.
Yeah, I definitely didn't follow the Margaret Jeffrey Weir book of parenting, especially when it came out of discipline. So yeah, and it was amazing that the grandmother was totally different than the mama. Like, whoa. Where was all this patience and understanding when I was your daughter?
It always happened, boy. They'd be like, hey.
Mahogany has a great question. She says, how can you help someone experiencing depression? They're already in counseling, but still has a hard time. Counseling but has a hard time. In my opinion, being someone who is dealing with both, in my circle that I've been transparent with, sometimes it's as simple as just calling and talking to me. Like, we're not on the, hey, how you doing today? How you feeling? It's just like, girl, what's going on? Let me tell you what my neighbor did. Like, it's just talking. Also, some things that my circle has done is um, shout out to the people who give me my treats because I'm still a foodie. I'm a comfort eater. Um, but like, yeah, maybe give them something that they like. Um, this person is in counseling, so they are um, receiving the medical attention that they
Mm-hmm.
need. The other part of the depression is the personal therapy. So your circle not treating you like they need to help you or rescue you. Just keep
Right.
me being normal. Keep treating me normal. That'll help me full circle because now I'm feeling like I can balance my issue in my real life. So us that are dealing with depression and anxiety, we don't need other doctors when you know that this person is in therapy. I don't need nobody else to be my therapist. I need you to just be with me how you would ordinarily be with me. That's what helps us get over this and learn how to now incorporate regular life outside of the therapy.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think a lot of times when we realize that people are going through, whether if somebody is going through something like a disease, many times we find ourselves wanting to do the quote unquote follow up. And I'm not saying, okay, so for example, if somebody has cancer and you know they've gone through chemotherapy, as soon as they get home, they're not asking you to give them more of that treatment. They're wanting you to give them that love, be that connection. And the same thing happens with mental health. So many times we think, okay, somebody's going through depression or whatever the case may be, whatever form of mental health. It's not your job to continue the work of the doctor. They do their job. You be the recipient. You be the one, you be the love, you be the connection, you be the one that, like you said, just a call, hey, Melissa, what's up? Hey, guess what A Money did? Eh, That's what they need right now. And I think, by doing so, that may help that person not feel out of sorts because they're already on the spotlight there getting the help that they need by means of counseling. When they come home, they want the spotlight off of them. They just want family. So maybe just doing that can help. Um, and again, that prayer helps as well to keep them in the forefront and just letting them know that you're going to be there no matter what. Um,
That's it. And I just want to break that down a little more. The disorder is already, it feels like it takes over your life.
mhm.
So to have any part of my life that I can feel that I'm a part of and I can enjoy or even have some type of input or enjoy control. I don't want my circle now letting that define me. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Like, even though I know you want to be supportive and you want me to know that you're there and you want to make sure I feel okay. And if I need to talk, you're there. All of that is great. But now I feel like my disorder is defining me because you don't have control when these flare ups happen, you know?
Mhm.
So now you're feeling like it's just taking over your entire life.
And the comments are coming in. Let me see if I can read all of these real quick. Y'all are on fire tonight. So Dina said, I think we as humans have really lost touch with being considerate of each other too. We are all fighting battles that the next might not understand or think they have the answer for. But for each individual, it's different in how they process things, especially if there are past traumas and such. I get so tired of hearing they are just seeking attention. This is why a lot of folks stay silent. Good point. Good point. Oh, Charlie Two's mentioned. She said, our mother's patience was in your grandmother, LOL. Your mother didn't fund it until she graduated, too. Oh, Daryl. Good one, man. He said, even in relationships, most men feel like they cannot express themselves to their wife and or a girlfriend because they will look at them as weak, which goes back to my earlier comment about when you do try to express yourself to your inner circle, your family. your significant other, etc. As a male, you're looked at as weak. And again, because we were told growing up to suck it up or quit crying before I give you something to cry about. It is truly hard for some men to express themselves to others. It's true. And you know what? I'm going ahead and do I'm gonna do a shameless plug. I'm glad I got my wife, because when I'm at my lowest, I don't even have to say anything. See, that's where it's very, very important. The communication sometimes is that unspoken communication. And it is unfortunate that we can't be those type of individuals that, if I hit my toe, I don't want to hear suck it up. And I don't want to hear, are you all right? It's like, what can we do to get you taken care of? That's the type of responses that we need to have, from people nowadays. Terry said, one of the many reasons why I hesitate sending my kids to school is bullying and mental health. I know what I went through, what my husband went through, and I know in a million times worse. I'm struggling with protecting their mental health as well as my own and my loves. Yes and no. I agree with you on that, babe. And I'm gonna say this. I'm saying this from this standpoint. Mental health is important, and how we interact with each other adds to that. So the kids need to interact with other kids, and that's why school is important, because they develop those skills and become societal awareness. They have to know how they fit in society. We've seen instances a lot of times when people keep children out of those type of settings and they don't develop it, and then they have issues with communicating. So I can understand, you definitely, it's almost like what you were saying as far as, how our generation raised y'all, and you want to do it this way. But at the same time, you have to understand the way you were raised or what you went through in school may not be the same end all be all for the children. You want to give them those skill sets. So they have to interact with other children. They have to interact with other adults. They have to interact with their peers as they grow up. So therefore they can form those type of relationships and understand their position in society. So definitely don't cheat them out of that. But I can definitely understand where you're coming from, because yeah, things have changed greatly.
I'm gonna say two things real quick. Daryl
Mm-hmm.
Cook, I just want to touch on the circle, and then the really people with wives and significant others and things of that nature. Women, if you are not creating the atmosphere for your husband or your man to be able to express themselves, they don't feel that they have the trust and the reprieve. You cannot ever get mad about the lack of sympathy, empathy, or attention towards you.
Mm.
And as far as Terry
Mm.
goes, about the kids, there are so many stories, live videos, things that nature about things that's happening in school, um, the bullying, the mental health, either the target and the attack on the mental health of our children, or them maybe being subjected to someone that may. But that is still a small percentage in the school system in regards to a normal day. But
Mm-hmm.
I always challenge parents. And when my children were in public school, I was one of these people. Instead of looking at you, yours, and your kids and how you're going to do, why do your children have to come up with an alternate way when there's an easy way to be educated and introduced to people and learn skills and socialization? The parents need to command and hold the schools accountable to make sure that they are offering this type of atmosphere for children to learn.
Mm.
Because there's so many parents, and I'm not saying that your idea is a shortcut, Nisi, at all. All I'm saying is that it's still a quick fix. I'll homeschool my kids. Okay. But the school system's still broken. No one is still telling them, hey, we need more. We require more. We need you to do better by all students in all districts, not just a select few districts and kids
Mm-hmm.
that don't usually look like my kids. We want you to be fair and not unbiased. We have to start saying these are the things that are important. Having a healthy environment for our kids, just like it's in your HR books at work that whoever creates an unhealthy work environment, like they're usually fired because it's too easy to disrupt the whole workforce. So why not hold our school system the same way? We
Mm-hmm.
need to make sure our kids have a healthy educational environment that will not only strengthen their minds to learn, but give them the freedom to be who they are and expressing themselves. We just got to make sure that we are putting things of priority in place and not new bleachers and cheerleader suits and things of that nature. This is the stuff that we really need to be pushing for. Having
Mm-hmm.
an on-site therapist, and not having one that will float between a school up here in North Charlotte and having to go all the way to South End. That's not resources to make sure that these kids can talk to somebody if they need to talk to somebody. And
Right.
anybody who is in college or have kids who are in college that are going into psychology, let them know they're about to be paid. Because
Mm.
when we come out of this thing, honey, any and everybody, even the people who got pets, the pets gonna probably have to need some type of therapy coming out of this pandemic, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Corporations are going to incorporate. I don't know if y'all watch Billions. It was a show on Showtime. They had an on-site therapist in this building so people can come from work if they had a bad day, a bad call, or whatever. They could go and talk to her. This is going to be the new trend of our corporate America in the next couple of years because they're not going to have a choice because people
Mm-hmm.
who are being quiet now and being silent now, this is going to affect them for sure.
Charlitude, she said, why I make sure in relationship consulting, I try to get them to change their communication, break the cycle. I also am trying to find the education to find a way to get the certification to help change that for women and men on how to relate differently than the way we were predisposed to. Yeah. I'm glad she said that communication. Yeah. I think that's the hidden thing. And I see Terry and Dina are actually communicating with each other. That's great. We love it when the family gets together and they start asking each other questions and having little side conversations. That's what we want. We did. Yeah. She said, we discussed this when I was home, Carrie. It's a joy to have a partner in life that you communicate without words or move in rhythm. Really blessed again to you and your wife. That is no easy feat. It's not. And it takes years. It takes years to develop that. And I think that's the thing, we definitely want to lay out to everyone. Everything we're talking about is not going to happen overnight,
Right.
but it has to start somewhere and somebody has to take the first step. So when it comes to this thing that we're talking about, and family, if you're just joining us, we're talking about mental health. And again, there's different levels to this. And Melissa has been amazing to share her story regarding this right here. Um, it has to start somewhere, and we've got to get out of this hidden agenda and really start having these frank conversations about mental health.
Terry said, I'm okay with interaction, but like dance classes or art classes, 8 hours a day is enough. I'm not ready for that. 8 hours a day, though, I'm not ready for that. And you may not need 8 hours because I definitely believe we don't need 8 hours at work because honestly, anybody is usually only productive 5 of them. So, like, I may definitely kind of see your point on that, Terry. But everything is a system that builds on another system. The school systems build on the work system or the work, so they already know kids that are in that institution, that type of learning environment. That's it. That's it. So get a shorter work day, work week. You might get a shorter school day.
Mhm.
She said middle school was the worst. First time I thought of suicide. Had a rock thrown at my head and my vision blurred. Not even the worst of it. Terry, I do want you to also know that be careful to not transfer your trauma onto your children. Um, your experience may not be theirs.
Yeah.
Your rough time, unfortunately, I hate everything that happened to you in your younger years. Um, you're already breaking the cycle for them because you have established a loving home, solid environment, a community, not only of people who are family, but who are not. You're already, whether you realize they concept it or not, grasp the concept of it, you're already showing them about entrepreneurship. You're already showing them about going outside the box. Um, you and your husband are educated. You're already breaking the cycle for them as
Mm-hmm.
far as comparing to your upbringing. So, you know, just want to make sure that you give them a chance for that as well. And then guess what? If that becomes a part of their life and that's how they are, you already kind of know what to do. But they may not experience anything like what you experience. They may not have a hard time at all whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Good. Dina says shorter work days and work week. Amen to that.
I like that.
Yes, indeed. Oh, agreed. Thank you for your transparency with these conversations. This conversation is a much needed outlet. Charlotte Toots. Yes, indeed, it is. Yeah, I don't know why we tend to shy away. I think it's ironic. We will break our necks and share with somebody something that happened on TikTok. We don't even know these people, this person or whatever sort. And we'll share what they're doing on TikTok. We'll share what's going on Facebook or whatever sort. But when it comes to someone that may be going through something, who's just tired of being tired, it could be just simple as that. They have so much on their plate. They are the go-to person, like Melissa said, the go-to person, the person that always has the answers, the person that is multi-talented, the person that can do this, the person that I know I can go to confide in. So many times, y'all, we keep going to these individuals, and I used this example once before. That emotional bank keeps getting a lot of withdrawals, and nobody's putting any deposits in. And then we wonder why that person puts the close sign on that bank and locks the door. We wonder why they do that. Family, let's get out of always going and going and going to these type of individuals, and maybe just put the brakes on and come to them and say, hey, Melissa, need help with anything? Or not even ask her if she needs help, or ask him if he needs help, or ask that person over there if they need help. Maybe just go there and say, hey, no, I'm just going to be your sounding board. You just go ahead, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to do, and not even respond. Sometimes people need that, because that could be the thing that keeps that person from either going over the edge or putting a foot in your tail. We don't know. We don't know, because sometimes people, they just compress it down, and all of a sudden you wonder why they blow up. I remember having a talk with somebody about someone. I said, you keep on doing this to him. You keep on. He is going to explode. And sure enough.
And it is up to that person when your support comes to not turn them away, because I used to be that person. Like, oh, I'm good, I'm fine. No, you're not. And you need to say, hey, I don't know what I need, but just ride with me. I don't want to be alone. And I've had those moments where I'm like, if my girls are here, I'm like, just ride with me. You don't even have to get out the car. I just don't want to be by myself. And now that they are, I'll pick up one of, hey, what you doing? I need to run here, da da da. Do you mind riding with me? Because, sometimes the comfort of somebody else being in the car keeps anxiety from creeping up on me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to explain that. And they're like, oh, okay. Because even at that, hey, you want to ride with me? Does that sound like why I need them? You know what I'm saying? So you need to say, hey, I'm feeling a little anxious, but I want to get out the house. Do you mind riding with me? That'll keep me calm. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Be honest, be transparent. It's that person's responsibility too.
Yeah. Charlie too said, I still do, and I know it's sometimes counterproductive. I'm gonna tell y'all what somebody told me a long time ago. All you doing is blocking your blessing. And many times it's okay not to be strong all the time. I learned that 2 years ago. It's okay.
Yes, it's not.
It's okay. It is okay to lay down your burdens down by the riverside. It is okay for you to say, I need a moment of rest. You know, my cousin hit me just the other day and had shared with me how he unplugged from social media. He said I had to get away. And that's something I definitely wanted to bring up, but we didn't get a chance to. But he just said I had to get away. I had to unplug from social media. I had to unplug from this and stuff. He said I needed to sort this thing out. And I was like, what thing? He said, my life. And a lot of times we don't get that. Sometimes we think we got to keep running. We got to keep running. Sometimes you don't have to be busy all the time. Just stop. Just stop. And you'll be surprised.
Yeah,
Ah,
I know you said I'll just touch on it real quick.
go ahead.
Media, what you're feeding, what you're taking in that you don't take in the truth, you feed your
Mm-hmm.
mind. And
Mm-hmm.
so depending on how I'm feeling, if Ben and I are watching TV and he picks something and I know it's, either got a heartstring, storyline, I say, hey, I can't watch that right now. Or
Mm.
guess what? I'm gonna go upstairs and watch something else because you have to be careful, even in the form of entertainment,
Yep.
what you are feeding your mind when you're at one of those moments, because
Mm-hmm.
those little things also will push you over the edge.
This is true. And it was funny too because there's a website that I had been reading upon. It's called Mental Health of America, and they said that as far as identifying the risk factors, and I was like, wow, that is deep. So to just already know those triggers before it happens is kind of helpful, and for your family members to also know those triggers is very helpful as well. So as someone who may be going through something, y'all, and you know it, there's no harm with sharing it and telling your family members. I would, if I knew there was something that would help my wife, and actually her and I just had a talk about this not too long ago. I was like, yo, let me know. Because that way if I come across it, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna block it from you. So therefore you're not getting sideswiped or whatever. I think it's very helpful in regards to that. Hey Phil, thank you for joining us on At the Round Table.
I just want to say, as I always do, and big you up as being such an awesome husband. Mahogany asked a question earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Another layer to that is not being in the way isn't really support. So you have some spouses, significant others, or friends who kind of just don't be in your way. Like they're there. They make sure that they don't crowd you. They ain't in your way, but that's not really support either. Like if you're not going to be engaged or active in whatever it is that you're doing to support me, we don't need you in. We don't need you taking up space. Because you have some husbands, some significant others, some friends that be like, I know they're going through something, and that what they know they're here they know I'm here if they need me. You might find yourself saying stuff like that, or Renee might be feeling a little weepy that day, and then you're just kind of like, well, I'm gonna stay downstairs. I ain't gonna mess with her because I know she in one of her moods. That's not really support. That's just you being out of the way. We don't need people that's just going to be out the way. You
Right.
know, you're either going to be there for us or you're not. So I love how you are there for her right now, because you're already thinking ahead and, you know, getting a game plan. Like, what do I need to do to, you know, actively engage in helping her get better?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's helpful to listen to, because a lot of times, you know, through dialogue, you get information that sometimes it's not just, you know, if I ask you the question directly, you may sugarcoat it. But if we're having a conversation and then I start learning more stuff about what's going on, then I should be receptive to that. So the listening part of it is very important. And then that way you can go back into, you know, your recesses of your mind and be like, oh, well, she said this, so let me do this or whatever. Daryl just mentioned this. He said, we stay busy so we don't have to deal with our circumstances or situations, and to help keep our minds off of whatever it is we may be going through. That can be good, and then that can be bad. I think this is my personal opinion, because a lot of times all you're doing is running away from the problem or the situation. I mean, you should stay busy to a certain extent, but not let it overtake and you not handle the situation or the problem at hand. That could be very dangerous, because again, all you're doing is you're letting it build up, and then you wonder why your response to somebody seems to be almost confrontational, or you're crying, or you shut down, you just don't want to deal with anybody or whatever. These are different things that may happen. So you have to address the situation. And again, it's just like this. If you can deal with a physical problem, you should be able to deal with a mental problem. You have to give it the same way. Dina said, we also have to be careful of listening to others, but end up carrying their burdens, create boundaries. Wow.
You have to have a place to unload, Dana. If you take on that responsibility to listen to someone, and you find yourself at that point burdened by what they've told you, you have to have a place to unload that, or you would then take on everything that anyone ever shares with you. Therapists have therapists because they
Yep.
have to unload about the stuff that we load on to them. Coming from a faith avenue, I am a person where my spiritual gift is grace. So random people will come up and start talking to me and telling me stuff, and I'll be like, oh my goodness. And I then have to actively take it and put it on the altar of God, saying, you know, God, I just met so and so. This is what she was sharing with me. I'm unloading it off of my heart and I'm giving it to you. That is what I pray, and that is all that I say. And I'm not burdened down with what the people and what they share with me across. So, you know, that's something that I do personally.
I like that. That's very good. Phil said, it's the I will let them get over it, not knowing that hurts more than helps. It does, cuz yes. You know why? Because a lot of people, when somebody comes to you and they may around the way mention what they're going through, if that is our response to them, you're just reinforcing the doubt that they have about themselves. You know, and that's one of the things, you know, with mental health, there is a lot of doubt that happens in people's minds, you know.
Yep. Yep.
And we have to get out of the negative and give them the positive. So if we come across somebody, you just got to constantly give them love, you know, even if you don't know what to do for them at that time, your presence is a present, believe it or not. So, you know, a lot of times people want to hide and just get away from it or whatever sort. No, don't do that.
Say that, Carrie. Hey, I'm here. I don't know what to do, but I'm here. Sometimes that just helps us too, because we know what your actual intentions are.
Yep. Miss Pitbull, the other issue is people don't know what to say or do when you are going through. We just said it. They
there
hear
you
you,
go, Daryl. Me and Daryl here. I'm answering questions before he even give them to me. Yes, Daryl.
Right there.
I mean,
right
honestly,
there.
you say that. If they're a person that you care to go out your way enough to say, I want to do something for you. Literally just be transparent and say, hey, I know you're going through something. I want to do something for you, but I don't know what to do or to say. But if you whatever you need, I'm here. I mean,
Mhm.
I would take that as you buying me dinner. Like that, you don't know how much that means, because number one, you get to a place of feeling like no one cares. And so now you're dismissing that, hey, somebody does care about me, you know? Um, yeah, it's not hard. Society has us thinking it's hard. It's really not that hard. It's not. Just be transparent, communicate, be honest with the person, and be engaged. And that person would honestly, truly um, love it and receive it and be so appreciative of it. So Dina said, I get random people sharing with me as well. Thanks for the tip. No problem,
Mhm.
Dina. And honestly, there's going to be a lot more people that either God gives them that gift because of what we're coming out of,
Mhm.
or people are going to now manifest that gift with another one that they already have, because we're going to need, people going to have to need some place to unload.
Yes, indeed.
A small act of kindness could be the game changer in someone's life. Yes.
Very true. Very true. Well, family, it's about that time. I want to share this with y'all real quick because I know A Money would do this as well because he's the guy that does all the research. He's the fact checker. But basically, just to let you know, if you feel as though, or if you know somebody that maybe need help in regards to mental health, talk to them, be available. But if you just don't know what to do, mentalhealth.gov has a plethora of resources that are there that will allow you to understand what's going on somewhat or help point them in the right direction. So definitely go there, mentalhealth.gov, in order to see what resources are available for that friend, that loved one, or even for yourself. Make sure you can check that out. Thank y'all for joining us tonight in regards to the show. Shouts out to Melissa. I can't say it enough. The fact that she came back on the show, ready to go and address this situation, this topic with the grace and the power that she has. Thank you, sis. I appreciate it. We appreciate you. You know.
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. I also add University Psychological Association, Associates, I'm sorry, .com. Definitely go there. And for those who are having physical symptoms due to your mental health, there's a book that my therapist had me reading right now. It's called The Body Keeps Score.
Mm.
And it's by Bissell van der Kolk. And I'll put it in the chat so we can add it to the comments. And basically, it is teaching you how your mind, your physical state, everything works together. And then we were talking about having the ability to identify triggers. This will help you start to identify triggers as well, because your body is going to tell you, hey, I didn't like that, or hey, this is making me feel uncomfortable. So again, the name of the book is The Body Keeps Score. And it is so far a really good read. I feel more in tune in regards to listening to my body and what's going on.
Shouts out to Charlie Toods and everybody for chiming in tonight and being a part of this discussion. If you get a chance, watch the show again if you need that information regarding where to go for mental health support, the book that will help you as well. And also share this show, because one of the things that we're trying to do is we're not trying to do shows that are a lot about glitz and glamour, but stuff that our family, ATRT family, can benefit out of and can share. So if you get a chance, share the show, look back over the show, take notes, get that information to help yourself out. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week once again. Oh, haha. Shared already. Thank you, sis. We appreciate you. Well, that's it for us. Melissa Bartlett came back and knocked it out the park once again.
That's only because I had my bro with me. I can't hit a ball out the park if I don't have a good pitcher. So thank you so much for being who you are and doing what you do. Thank A Money, even in his absence, for still being A Money and coming up with things that are just phenomenal. And I'm just excited about the weather getting warmer and things that we have on the agenda to be a part of, especially a community-based project. So, family, I love you guys. Thank you. Keep me in your prayers. I will definitely keep you guys on the progress of my progress. And anytime you have any questions or anything, you can reach out to me. I'm an open book, and I'll definitely get back with you as well.
Yes, indeed. Well, your family, y'all have a great evening, and we'll see y'all once again. Peace, love, and hair grease.